Your insecurities will never go away, will never be filled by the validation or the sense of security that the words of the people who you are trying to seek security from will ever patch the holes uh, which give you that insecurity. And the reason your insecurity will never go away is because you do not understand where insecurities come from. When a child is born, for during the stages of infanthood, he is free. What does that mean? What that means is he does not have any insecurities. If I speak specifically about the topic of this audio file, he does not know um, if he is fat or thin. And the reason that does not even come in his mind is because he does not know the pleasures of the world. Because your insecurities come from seeking pleasure. So let's say, for example, you're fat, and in school, you wanted to make friends because talking to friends makes you lose yourself, gives you the opportunity to play sports with them. And you recognize that in order to have access to that pleasure that you get from, let's say, playing football with that group of friends, you need to be thin because fat people are not that sporty. And when fat people enter into a sport, they're not as good. And since they're not as good, they will not be given the chance to play football. So, because they want to play football, they get pleasure and they need friends, they need people to play football with. If by chance one of their so called friend says that, hey, you're fat, you're not so good at playing the sport, that creates internal conflict within the person who's receiving this comment, because that puts him to the risk of not having the opportunity to play football. Or the same can be said with, let's say, in the context of wanting to have a girlfriend. Now, generally speaking, women are more attractive to fit bodies than someone who's fat. And if a person is fat, that puts him to the risk of not being able to receive the pleasure of having a girlfriend. And hence, the way he dresses, the color of his t shirt, his need to go to the gym, his acute necessity to follow a strict diet, all stems from the insecurity when he was fat because he wanted to get a girlfriend. Hence, he becomes fit to get that girlfriend. Now, even though he may be, quote, less insecure when he has achieved that body to get the pleasure from the girl or to be a part of that football team with his friends, he will still feel insecure. And the reason he will still feel insecure is because he knows perfectly well that if he does not maintain that kind of physique, and I use the word maintain because uh, wanting to stay fit requires maintenance. It's a constant upkeep of that physique. You can't just arrive at a point and then never feel insecure ever again because, like I said, it needs to be maintained forever and ever and ever. He will be insecure. The degree to which he is insecure, to me personally, does not really matter. What I am moved by, what I am interested by, or what I was interested by, which I did not have the word for it, but eventually I came to the recognition of it, was the need to never feel insecure about my body. Let's say. Now, the story that I said, or the examples that I gave were actually quite personal to me, but this can also, let's say, apply to, I don't know, being insecure about your marks in school or college, or being insecure about the way you speak English, the way you are in bed, the way your work output in your office has to be. Does not matter the nature of the insecurity. The fact of the matter remains. You want to receive the pleasure of something. And in order to get the pleasure of that something, you need to be a certain way. For example, if you want to get good marks, you have to study to get good marks. And there are definite things that can prevent you from getting those marks, whatever those things might be. I'm not concerned about that. Or you may wish to get get an increase in your pay, but there can be definite things which may prevent you from getting that pay. And the prevention from that thing that you want has, like I said, consequences. The consequence of not getting good marks, the consequence of not getting a pay raise, the initial example, like I said, the consequence of not being able to have a girlfriend or friends. And that consequence is outwardly manifested as insecurity. Now, even if you get the thing, let's say you get the increment and you get the marks, the problem is that that problem doesn't end there, because you will have the need to satisfy another pleasure of probably the next increment or the next better girlfriend or the better group of friends to which you said you to which you might say, I've outgrown my lifestyle, I want a better, whatever that better might be. And you will roll around in circles of wanting more, and wanting more, whatever that thing might be, will have consequences which will prevent you from having that. And that consequence will make you have insecurities. So, to ask questions like, how can I get rid of insecurities? How can I not feel insecure? How can I, quote, accept myself? These are not really questions that have any answers which will satisfy the person. And you don't have to believe me, you can just look at your life uh, and ask for yourself, have your insecurities gone away? So, if there is even any chance to, let's say, so called, quote, get rid of the insecurity, you may like to see the nature of the pleasure that you're seeking. and if it can ever be fulfilled. Because if a friend's validation cannot satisfy you, if the intercourse with your girlfriend cannot give you lasting satisfaction, if the increment, upon having the increment, or upon having the marks, or upon receiving the quote blessings from your parents for doing good deeds, made you whole, made you satisfied to the point that you never want it again, you would stop feeling insecure naturally. But that doesn't happen because the mind just happens to want to be in an endless goose chase for pleasure until the day it dies. And hence, it is no surprise uh, that until the day you die, you would have insecurities about the things in which you seek pleasure from. That is the truth about why you feel insecure. Does that mean one should stop seeking pleasure? No. Does that mean not seeking pleasure is good? No. Does that mean anything? No, it doesn't. What that means is wherever there is a chase for the pleasure, you will be insecure about the things that may make you not have that pleasure. And upon recognizing this, the person may or may not, the person to whom it might have resonated may naturally stop asking other people for fixes as to how do I get rid of this insecurity.